After a few weeks of family time in Canada and a quick trip to the US, Meghan Markle will soon be heading back across the pond, and she might be reuniting with one of her favorite collaborators while she's there. The Duchess of Sussex and her husband, Prince Harry, are set to return to London before the end of February in the magazine's 104-year history. The duo recently shared footage of themselves celebrating their huge accomplishment, in which they blew horns and wore party hats. The theme of the issue was Forces for Change, and now Edward is turning what they started into something bigger. He announced this week that British Vogue would host its first ever Forces for Change event, called the Changemaker Talks, next month in London.
Y'all, what is going on with Saltine Island? What's up, Sussex Squad? Listen, I know I've been gone for a while covering the Diddy stuff, but I had to actually pop in to see what was going on between Meghan Markle and the former Vogue editor, Edward Edenfall. Now listen, when I first saw this, I said, yo, this is Sensible Part 2. You realize it's a bad look, the Royal Road and all this, getting white people to attack Meghan. So now you're getting black people that either don't like other black people, or in the case of Edward, you need all those upper crust connections to accept you. So now you're going in on Meghan years later. What is the point of this? And Edward, let me just say this. Edward is the same man that let all those people get in his head to go to war with Anna Wintour, to stage a coup to remove her from her own magazine. Now, am I the biggest fan of Anna Wintour? No, I think she should let the new guard of fashion take over. But at the end of the day, Edward, you must be out of your mind. That is an institution she built. Did you really think you were going to stage a coup? And you let people get in your ear and you went about it all wrong. What is my point of saying this? Edward always listens to the wrong people at the wrong time. And baby, him going after Meghan is wrong road. Baby, what is the headline? He tried to play Meghan and he got played by Anna Wintour. So let me break it down for y'all if you don't know, right? Now here's the thing, right? They said Meghan made impossible demands not even Beyonce gets. He literally used that. He said not even Beyonce gets that. That's the actual shade that Edward Edenfall threw at Meghan Markle when she requested a global Vogue cover. So if you guys don't know, Meghan wanted a global cover for Vogue in 2022. She wanted both the UK and the US editions. Now listen, let me just say this. For her to act like that was too much, this was a move that was powerful because of the historic nature of who Meghan was. I'm not even using biracial, baby. She's American. Meghan is black. I don't care what y'all say. In America, she is considered black, okay? I know Harry doesn't know what a keratin hair straightener is, but in America, we do, right? But all jokes aside, right? Meghan was the first person that's black, descended from enslaved people, divorced American actress, superstar. Okay, who she is, and she was older. Who she is and what she represented was historic. It was a changing of the guards. It was something that the British monarchy had never seen in their lives, right? And apparently, according to Edward and all these people, it was too much, right? They said not even Beyonce actually got that. But let's be serious, right? You're talking about too much. Meghan Markle, the black, or if you want to be British, biracial duchess that married into the actual British monarchy. Not even Beyonce could get that. Please, Meghan Markle is the cover, okay? Listen, the way they spun it, they act like she was asking for nuclear codes. Meanwhile, oh, not even Beyonce gets that. Beyonce is over here with the Vogue Museum exhibits, and Meghan can't get a 10-page feature. Now, British Vogue, under the head of Edward, said, nah, sis, listen, you're going to get a little blurb, a little side article, like she was some intern. But get this, the decision wasn't just shade, it was sabotage. Yes, sabotage. It was rough. It was rough, right? Again, Meghan asking being historic was too much, even though Beyonce's been doing triple covers since the iPod era of Vogue. Edward Edenfall offered Meghan the cover of British Vogue, okay? But he wanted her to be the guest editor, not the actual cover star. Now, the funny thing is, and this is just my opinion, I think he was going to ask her to be the cover star. But again, he let those British turtle-toffs and the elite get in his head, and that's when things started going down. That's when he was like, no, you can just be a guest editor, meaning that she was not good enough to be on the cover. She took it as a snub, rightfully so, because it was a snub, okay? Now get this. Meanwhile, Anne Wintour reportedly was not happy. Anne Wintour went to bat for Meghan when she heard that Meghan had been denied the cover she wanted, because as much as Edward Edenfall kowtowed to the British monarchy, and I get it, you live in London. In order to be in the fashion world in London, only the rich people are in it, and you have to kowtow to them. But listen, Anne Wintour knows the copies that Vogue cover would have sold, and she specifically said, put Meghan on the cover. Edward went out of his way to say, no, I don't think that was going to be a good look. Anyway, right? And get this. Edward then started playing both sides, okay? Now, the British fraction encouraged him to deny Meghan the cover, but then he ended up getting reprimanded by the higher-ups at Vogue and American Vogue for messing up and dropping a bag, because everybody knows that Meghan is the story. He was trying to, in my opinion, he was trying to keep Buckingham Palace happy by keeping Meghan small, but he forgot who really runs fashion. And let me tell you something, judging by the way Kate is dressed, it is not the Windsors. It's the woman that he was also trying to oust. Again, I think he used Meghan as a playing card. I think he thought that if he played nicely with her, they would help him oust her. The only thing is, the British monarchy, the British is not a part of fashion, but even the British fashion set, it's all lily white. Edward, they were never going to let you run it. And if they did, it's because you forced your way in, not because you played nice, okay? Now get this, right? The American side of Vogue, including Anna Wintour, was allegedly extremely angry that British Vogue didn't give Meghan a proper cover. They saw Meghan as a once-in-a-lifetime cover star, and he gave her a scrapbook assignment. And that's why Anna basically said, yeah, we have to get you out of here, Edward. You don't have discernment. You don't have discernment. And he was trying to stage a coup. Again, right? I remember specifically when he listened to the idiots in his ear and tried to stage a coup against Anna Wintour. Imagine losing Meghan Markle, then trying to overthrow Anne Wintour like you've got her like that. This man was out here plotting coups and couldn't even deliver a decent feature. Now, there were rumors that he had tried to stage some kind of power grab within Vogue. It wasn't just rumors. This was true. Even the way he was outmaneuvered and left in shame. Again, Edward should have linked up with Meghan. He should have realized who his true allies were. And he should have realized that his skin color in those circles just disqualified him. But get this, right? Meghan said, if you're going to play in my face, I'll just walk away. Enjoy explaining to Condé Nast why you fumbled a Duchess. Meghan said, you know what? I don't need to be a feature, okay? She put up that cover. It was inspirational. I remember there were all those complaints. And even when they kept her off the cover, everybody in the British fashion world said that it was racist because there wasn't enough white people reflected in this. He still got flack for that. So I hope Edward feels stupid for going against it. But also, let's keep in mind, right? Meghan did the shade. She left the box open. She said, I don't need to be the story. I will amplify. I will elevate. I will play my part. But you are not going to disrespect me and humiliate me by putting me in a little feature in the back when I am the story. The fact that I married into the royal family, the fact of who I am, the fact of my work, you must be out of your mind. So Meghan let Edward play with the mess, okay? Now listen, Meghan had already walked away from the Vogue feature, right? She knew that she was being humiliated and mocked. LOL, listen. And then they had the nerve that after she said, I don't want this feature, they had the nerve to talk ish that she didn't know her place. Nah, she knew her place, and that place was front and center. And guess what? The funniest part was Edward lost his place behind the desk at British Vogue. Listen, again, he tried to humble Meghan, and I think he did it because of all the people in his ear. And Meghan and Anna Wintour humbled your career. Meghan stayed royal. Meghan's living a life. And he is still unemployed, paying in the background, playing the flunky, grabbing for crumbs. And here's the thing, I'm not even trying to drag him. He is incredibly talented. I do think that he was taking British Vogue in a huge new direction, a beautiful direction. But I think he tried to appease the racists by humbling Meghan because he was like, well, this is where I live and work. He didn't realize that they don't have any good plans for you. You know, it was weird. It was weird. Again, I stand by it. This decision wasn't just shade, it was sabotage. Edward knew it was disrespectful, and I'm proud of Meghan for knowing her worth. And Edward tried to play both sides. I don't even think he tried to play both sides. Let me be clear. He tried to go to work for the British media, and he ended up humbling himself. Again, how sad. You lost your job, right? You lost your job and you couldn't even secure the cover, which would have been the cover of the century. And at the end of the day, as much as people try to act like, oh my God, Vogue's this and Vogue's that, baby, Vogue is a business. And if it's not selling, they can't get advertising. And the fact that Edward listened to the people in Saltine Island and went with them to humble Meghan, when at the end of the day, when he needed their help to come stage a coup, he literally was thrown out in shame. Yeah. Again, how not even Beyonce gets that, y'all, about a global Vogue cover. Listen, y'all, I had to come in and weigh in on this because honestly, I am tired of the royals. But the funny thing is, I think Meghan and Harry were so smart to move to California. No matter how talented you are, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how much you give out and how much you contribute, you will never be welcome. And as they see with what they did to Centiball and all those charities, they don't care. They never did care. I will go so far as to say that was the Queen's biggest con job, making people think that the royal family actually cared about their subjects. William is who the royal family has always been, and that's why he stands proudly in it. He doesn't care. He wants you to keep the poor problems away from them. But the fact of, in Britain, in the UK, Meghan and Harry would have never won. Their lives would have been miserable. They would have been sabotaged. Their kids would have been hounded. And I'm proud of them for actually going to America and making a new life. Now, to the Brits' point, Meghan does have a very, very keen knack for befriending herself to every millionaire and billionaire in the world. Right now, she is like buddy with Melinda Gates. You know her and Gwyneth Paltrow. There's Oprah. But baby, don't hate the player. Hate the game. Because at the end of the day, this is the game that every royal plays. And they're just mad that Meghan plays it better effortlessly. You're mad that the royal family, who are the OG social climbers, the OG influencers, the OG con artists, and the OG people that don't care about anything but their bottom line, you're mad that you're being outplayed by someone that does it better with more compassion and a kinder heart. So baby, regardless of what Meghan's critics say, she is still the best versions that the royals could ever hope to have, and to that we say amen. Anyway, congratulations on Meghan, her marriage, her children, her success, but also to be a shining example of Black woman joy in the face of a world that tells you you're too much. And even when you marry into the highest family in the land, if you believe into that white supremacy, I don't, but whatever, and you are the most accomplished woman to ever join the royal family, and you have elevated the royal family and brought something to the royal family that made the world pay attention when everybody was forgetting about you. Yeah. For them telling you that you were too much, thank God you stood in your place. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. Listen, Sussex Squad, I am going to be back soon. Start checking in every day. I'll see if I can at least put out one video every 2 days. And I'm going to start a long form podcast. I know I've been promising that forever, but baby, just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.